took a shit like an hour ago and it feels like 3 pine cones exited me at 60 miles an hour. Hello, you dirty frogs. It's time. You've all been asking for it, and now you're gonna get it. It's time for SLOPPENHEIMER 20. That's right, a build so good that we've gone from SLOPPENHEIMER 7 to SLOPPENHEIMER 20. If you're unfamiliar, that's 1 year in dog years. That's right, we've transcended time, and it is officially time to showcase the next evolution of the SLOPPENHEIMER Vortex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it, and if you want to check out the full write-up for this build, you'll find it in the description down below. I get a small kickback when you visit my builds, so please make me lots of money. Thank you. We're going to start off with the items in this build because that's kind of tradition by this point. Starting off with the main attraction, the most important gun in this build. It shouldn't be called a gun, it should be called a WMD. It's the Heimdall. You can get this from Captain Willis, I think his name is, the final boss of the story pack. If I'm wrong, I'm going to get shot in the comment section. But the Heimdall is the center of SLOPPENHEIMER Amon, and that is not changing anytime soon. My one is still bugged and still showing the Deadeye firmware on it. Do not put Deadeye on your Heimdall. Into our rep kit, and while I was very close to swapping it out for something else, we are still using the war paint. Why are we still using the war paint, Evil Frogman? Well, the answer is simple. We're still using the war paint because the 45% fire rate boost is literally crucial for the Heimdall, as it has a major lack of fire rate. And if you don't already know, something about the Heimdall, which is very, very cool, is that there is no projectile cap. You can have as many projectiles alive at one time as you want, provided you can shoot them fast enough. So the end goal for the build is to get as much fire rate as we can without sacrificing damage. The movement speed is also really, really handy to have on the war paint because Amon is a slow little chud. Into our enhancement, we are now swapping to a purple enhancement for SLOPPENHEIMER 20. I have recommended this in the past, but I've always ran a legendary myself. The reason why we are going to a purple this time is because legendary enhancement perks do not apply to the SLOPPENHEIMER, and so for that reason we just want the passives. So you have two choices here. First of all, let's talk about the crucial stats that you want. Gun damage, because it is the most important stat on any enhancement in the game, and also gun equip speed, because if you go and hit yourself with your rep kit, for example, the speed it's going to take to pull out the Heimdall again without gun equip speed is going to probably get you killed or get your kills to be slower. So those two are crucial, and now for the stat that you can change out, you can either go with gun fire rate for more projectiles like I've got, which I think personally is the best option, or if you want more raw damage, then you can go ahead and grab one with gun critical damage. Now, for full transparency, because most creators won't tell you this, these two enhancements are save edited. The chance of you getting a roll like this is probably pretty low. This is a very, very min-maxed setup here, so do not go into this assuming it's going to be easy to farm, but these are all legit rolls you can get in the game. And while I have had something very, very close, this is the best possible roll that you are going to want. Now, into our shield, there was many times in this build where I tried different shields to try and swap it out, but the best option is still going to be the Watts for dinner with 150 amp if you can get it. Now, I did do some experimenting with the brand new little sister shield, and I will say that this is also a very solid option, but it is just simply not as good as the Watts for dinner. But if you do want to get it, since it will probably, even though it drops from Terra, be way easier to get than the Watts for dinner, get it with the Boxer Augment. On melee hit, consumes an armor segment to increase the damage dealt by 20%. You are going to want that augment. It will let you proc the little sister effect, because otherwise you will not be able to break the shield, because Amon with Primal Surge has way too much shield regen. Okay, frogs, now into the class mod. We are using the brand new Damned class mod. When you get the Damned, get as many points into Executioner as you possibly can, And even though I don't have a good roll here, try to get something like gun damage or some form of crit chance on this class mod. I am still looking for one. I do not have one. Be better than me. This is a new timeline for the SLOPPENHEIMER build. We never used this before, obviously, but basically when we have our action skill active or our forge skill has been procced, it is going to allow our gunshots to have a 10% chance to cause a pyre which will explode, dealing a ton of damage, speeding up our DPS output. This is such a big damage increase for this build. It is not even funny, and genuinely, it might increase the build's damage by like 500%. It's unbelievably good. Because we're shooting so many SLOPPENHEIMER rounds at once, this is going to proc with no issues whatsoever. Okay, before we talk about our firmware, we are going to talk about the one gun that we have equipped, which is the Raiden. I am a piece of trash for using the Raiden. You will be a piece of trash if you use the Raiden. But the Raiden is so unbelievably broken right now in that the on-kill projectile count booster increases your projectiles per shot for 14 seconds, and this can stack. So here's the crazy part. Say you shoot a couple shots of the SLOPPENHEIMER and then you were to, I don't know, swap to the Raiden. When they get a kill, it will drop that booster, and if you pick those boosters up and then swap back to the SLOPPENHEIMER, now you can shoot 3, 4, maybe even 5 projectiles at once. It is broken, and while you don't need it for this build, I can't resist putting it on this build because it is disgusting and you should probably use it. Okay, so into our firmware, we are doing much like we were last time, I'm pretty sure. 2 in skillcraft for the skill damage and skill crit, 2 in high cal because the gun damage this gives you is really, really good. And finally, 1 into active fire for the same reason. We'll go with our specialization tree next. So as you can see, we are running the best defense, riddle you this, fragmentation payload, and full spectrum arsenal. I don't have any points into runner because I don't have an insane amount of specialization points, but this will give you melee damage and movement speed. Both of those are useful to this version of SLOPPENHEIMER, so feel free to put points in here if you have them left over, otherwise go for crit damage for your extra points and gun damage. Okay, so into our skill tree. In the blue tree, we have 5 points into Battleborn, we have 3 points into the Thrill, 5 points into Tail of the Comet, 2 points into Bullet Hail, 5 points into Icy Rage, 4 points into Primal Surge, and 5 points into Blackout. The reason why this time we're doing 2 points into Bullet Hail is because the amount of mob density in the Takedown actually allows for this to hit a fair amount, which is actually pretty decent. But if you don't like this, you could put these 2 points wherever else you want up here. I just think that Bullet Hail is fine for them to sit. In the green tree, we've got 5 points into Executioner. You get way more crit than what is actually on this card, so do not skip this. And finally, into red tree, we have 5 points into Discombobulate, 4 points into Wield the Storm, 1 point into Gut Punch, 4 points into Bulletstorm, 1 point into the best defense, 5 points into Catastrophe, 3 into Crackling Aegis, and 2 into Fist of Stone. For our augment, we're going with Force of Nature, and then for the capstone, we are going with Stormcutter, because Stormcutter restores a ton of our action skill duration. And this point in best defense is also very important because our pyres deal melee damage, so we will be living a lot easier as a result with this. So as always with the SLOPPENHEIMER build, there is some ground rules that you cannot miss out on, and I'm going to go over them very quickly. The biggest one is obviously, because we're using Primal Surge, which is ammo regen, you want to keep your SLOPPENHEIMER at max ammo at all times. If you're swapping away to the Raiden or to your rep kit, absolutely never, and I mean ever, swap away when you have any less than the maximum ammo, because if you do, what's going to happen is it's going to go on cooldown, as you can see right here. Another thing, if you run out of action skill, that is totally fine. The reason we have the Stormcutter Forge skill is because the more enemies you hit with it, the more cooldown you're going to get back on your action skill and your ordnance. So typically what you want to do is line up a big group of enemies and then hit them with Stormcutter, and you should get all of it back. And if you are very good at this and you're good at your timing, you should never not have your action skill when using this build. Your action skill is your damage, so make sure you keep it up. It's also your movement speed too, I cannot stress that enough. By the way, a little cheat code, the Heimdall can shoot through these doors. I just want to let you know that. Do with that information what you will when you are doing this entire takedown. You are welcome. Alright, so let's show you how to use the build. I'm going to start the takedown, and I am going to start by popping my rep kit and my action skill, and I am going to head in and start shooting my Heimdall. And this whole time I'm keeping an eye on my action skill duration. If I see that it's getting low, I'm going to use Stormcutter to try and keep it up. And with a few Heimdall shots out, I'm going to swap to my Raiden, pick up the boosters that are on the ground, and then get right back to slopping. And the amount of damage we are going to output in such a short amount of time is genuinely disgusting here. And as a result, we will be able to clear this room in around 1 minute or 1 minute 10. And it is just pretty unbelievably disgusting. I hope you can hear me right now over the sound of slopping. Maybe you can't, but that's okay too. And yep, as you can see, we are basically done with this room. If that guy doesn't survive, he's going to survive, okay. But you can see that we are just a minute in, and we're done. You see our action skill and our ordnance are on cooldown, and now they're not. Now we have them back, and we just rinse and repeat. And you do this for essentially the entire takedown, and it makes things unbelievably simple. Now, as far as this build in the rest of the game, it works pretty much how it always has. You just deliver slop at an absolutely disgusting rate, and it is just pretty much easy mode. Obviously, there is going to be some additional difficulty with certain bosses like Subjugator, who, regardless of how much damage you're dealing, they just deal so much damage that they're probably going to one-tap you with most of their attacks. But it all comes down to the same thing. Just slop your enemies, don't get hit, and enjoy the rest of the game. I mean, it's pretty simple. Now, there are absolutely cases where you can swap off to a Honey Bunches or the new Dropner launcher, which is getting a ton of buzz for how good it is, or basically anything else depending on the situation. This is still an all-around Ordnance Amon build, so it can do pretty much anything in the game, but of course we just use the Heimdall for the sake of the gimmick. It's the same process, nothing changes, it's pretty much always been the same build, and the same is just going to happen with pretty much everything you fight. It's a well-dropped pearl. Look at that. But that's going to do it for SLOPPENHEIMER 20. If you want to take part in a little pub quiz, everybody in the comment section, guess which version is coming after 20? We went from SLOPPENHEIMER to SLOPPENHEIMER 7 and now 20. What could possibly be next? First person to get it right gets a doggy treat that may or may not be laced with fentanyl. Until the next one, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this version of the build. And until the next version, stay sloppy, you dirty, dirty frogs.